What if I told you that most people's real financial security sits somewhere between 2 weeks and 2 months? Here's a question most people avoid asking themselves, afraid to know the answer. If your income were to suddenly stop today without any warning, how long could you survive on the money you have saved right now? Just to survive, to cover rent, bills, food, the minimum obligations that prevent your life from falling apart? How many months could you sustain this before your money runs out? How secure are you really? For most people, the honest answer lies somewhere between 2 weeks and 2 months, not because they are irresponsible, not because they do not work hard, but because the financial system they live in is not designed to help them build resilience. We are in a system where money comes in and goes out, where we struggle to maintain balance, and where spending habits are constantly pushed toward the edge of income. In this system, both high earners and low earners spend a great deal, and it is hard to imagine what would happen if the current flow of money suddenly stopped. Welcome to 5 Minute Money. In the next 5 minutes, you'll learn one powerful idea that can change the way you think about money. If you find value here, subscribe for more. Now let's continue. A financial stress test is not a theoretical exercise. It is the most practical question in personal finance, and most people fail it, not dramatically, but quietly, meaning they cannot give an honest answer. They have not calculated the number, they have not faced the gap, they have not imagined what would happen, and have not thought about taking precautions. The difference between what you have and what you would need to survive 6 months without income is the most important financial measurement in your life right now. More important than your investment returns, more important than your credit score, more important than any financial goal you are currently working toward, because all of these things, investments, credit, goals, become meaningless when a real crisis arrives and you have no buffer to meet it with. If there is no support waiting for you on the sidelines, falling may become very difficult to avoid. What does 6 months require? Take your essential monthly expenses, rent or mortgage, utilities, food, insurance, minimum debt payments, transportation, not your full spending, not your comfortable spending, your survival spending, the number below which your life begins to structurally break down. Multiply that number by 6. That is the target. Most people who calculate this number for the first time experience one of two things. Either they discover the number is smaller than they feared, that survival, stripped of the non-essential, costs less than the full monthly budget, and the target becomes genuinely reachable, or they discover the gap is larger than they had allowed themselves to acknowledge, and the calculation produces a discomfort that is more useful than any financial advice they have ever received. Both outcomes are more valuable than not knowing. The 6 month target is not arbitrary. Research on financial recovery from job loss, medical events, and economic disruption consistently shows that households with 6 months of liquid reserves navigate crises without long-term financial damage. Because below 3 months, the research shows significantly higher rates of debt accumulation, credit deterioration, and delayed recovery. Below 1 month, the crisis becomes self-compounding. The buffer is not just a safety net, it is the difference between a crisis that is temporary and one that permanently changes the trajectory of a financial life. Building the buffer does not require a large income. It requires a decision about priority. The emergency fund is not the last financial goal, and it is the first. Before aggressive debt repayment, before investing, before any other financial priority, because without the buffer, every other financial plan is built on a foundation that a single crisis can destroy. A practical approach is not dramatic. On payday, a fixed automatic transfer goes to a dedicated account, separate from checking, separate from spending. The amount matters less than the consistency. $25 a week becomes $500 in 5 months. $100 a month becomes $1,200 in a year. Like a small but steady stream of water, there is the possibility of filling even the largest pool one day. The question is not whether a crisis will come. The question is whether, when it does, you will have given yourself the time to respond rather than simply react. Run the stress test, calculate the gap, build the buffer. That is the entire plan.